Okay. Let me check my stream strength quick, and then we should be
What is up, everybody?
What is going on, people?
Oh, there's already people in the chat. This is awesome. What's going on, guys? What's going on? J FOMO, Crypto Unhinged, David, how's it going? There's already people in the chat. So, best ICO of 2018. How do you do? Maybe Sam Weaver. We'll see.
Okay, so cool. All right, so I got people in mind.
What's up? Oh, we got people in the building. Shout out everyone. FUDTV, CryptoZombie, ReadySetCrypto, CryptoCandor.
The only person who's way too cool is Mav from ReadySeyCrypto. He's just like, you know what, man? I'm just doing a guest cameo.
Yeah,
it's true. It's true. We are honored though for the first time only guest cameo.
No problem. Happy to be here.
Fantastic.
All right, guys. So I'm just kind of waiting. We've been up for a minute, waiting for people to roll in. So yeah, I guess I don't want to talk about too much stuff while people are rolling in. What's up, Crypto Jack? Video stream incoming. It's here. I don't know where you are. If you're in the chat and you don't see a video. So guys, how's everybody doing? How's everybody's week been? I mean, it's been pretty boring, really, in crypto.
Yeah, market's been boring. I've just been busy with just making stuff, but overall, it's kind of nice though when the market is slow, because obviously I can't spend too much time focused on it anyways. So it makes me feel less guilty when I'm editing and doing all that stuff.
Yeah, the market's been slow, but and that's why, like, when it's so slow like this, I know people hate TA because they think it's useless in crypto, but it's mostly bots trading when the market's so slow like this. So TA is like what bots go off of, so it's kind of like sort of useful, and the TA kind of doesn't look like things are gonna get too spicy until middle to late June. So, you know,
all you got to do is follow the Bart Simpson pattern, and then you know every time.
I see that all over Twitter. That's fantastic.
Exactly.
All right, so we got a pretty good chunk of people in here right now. I don't know. I'll start with a topic. So did you guys hear about Visa in the UK is having massive issues right now, and a bunch of people can't use their cards, and it was kind of it was like one of those awakening moments where you kind of you actually realize how much power you give to these people, and the credit cards. Imagine you go out, you got all this plan, you go to swipe, denied, doesn't work.
Have they given have they alluded at all to what's going on? Do they know what's wrong?
I don't know. I have a few people in my chat from the UK, so maybe somebody from there could tell me what's going on. So, but yeah, so just imagine, I mean, Visa, that's like 50%. I'm not 50%, but I mean, Visa, MasterCard, they're a good chunk of the market, I would say.
Oh yeah, absolutely. So. And I mean, most people, like I know myself, I don't carry cash like almost ever, which is like, I know it's terrible. Everybody's going to get mad at me, but I'm afraid I'll lose it. So if my card wasn't working or my MasterCard just stopped working, I would be SOL for sure. Hardcore.
I'm actually broke in real life, guys. So like according to my bank statement, I'm literally the poorest person. Like I'm so heavy into crypto that when people are like, "Oh, you don't understand." I'm like, "No, I do." Like like when we're down like 75% from the all-time high. Yeah, no, I do understand.
Oh, so one of my guys in my chat says 155 million daily transactions are processed with Visa and MasterCards. That is a lot of transactions. There's a lot of people very unhappy right now.
It's a lot of centralization.
Yeah, you can say that again. Welcome to crypto, right?
Yeah.
Man.
So there was, I don't know if I really didn't even look into it, so I'm curious if anybody else saw it. Somebody tweeted me, there was an article talking about the New York Stock Exchange, like thinking about taking on Bitcoin, Litecoin, and Stellar, but they're working with the Winklevoss twins. I don't know if anybody else saw that.
I'm not too sure about that, actually.
I'm going to Google it real quick and see if I can find it.
Okay, so everybody's asking who's everybody, so I'm just going to make a big announcement right now on the channel. So we have Elliotrades, okay? He's from FUDTV. He does really awesome news updates, and he also does awesome summaries of coin coverages and other things as well. He just recently did a really super informative video of Elastos. In fact, kind of helped to re-jump my brain on a lot of it. And, well, down here for me, we have the voice, Mav, of ReadySetCrypto. So for anyone who doesn't recognize him, it's because he doesn't ever show himself. So
That's great. Yes, and yeah, you guys all know me. I'm old news, so hi.
yeah, that CryptoCandor is like you're the weekly special. You're just on like every.
I'm just always featured. I'm like, hey guys, I'm gonna come hang out.
It's so easy to do, and it's it's like a lot of people are going out, partying, and I'm just staying home making a live stream, right? Because I'm totally cool like that.
Yeah, no,
on
I
Friday
got
night.
invited to do stuff tonight. I'm like, sorry guys, I got a live stream. You can all watch though if you want to see what I'm doing.
Absolutely.
Oh,
So, I mean, guys, the market's been unbelievably stagnant lately. Is there any particular projects that you guys are like accumulating, or what are you looking at right now? Is there any? I mean, I've been accumulating myself personally. I've been accumulating a little bit of Elastos personally, just because. Well, actually, they had a little bit of a bump lately, so yeah. But I don't know.
I haven't been. Well, it wasn't this dip, but like the last dip prior to this one. I don't know. I feel like we're going in and out of them all the time. But I started picking up some stuff that I wanted to grab. But I noticed that everything is bleeding out on my Delta app except BlockNet. My block is up like 12% in the last couple days or something like that, which is pretty awesome. So I think between all like the good coverage they've gotten and all their stuff that came out, like their X router and everything else, that it's been working out for them, which is probably why. But yeah, your interview with Hanny was great.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it, actually. He's a really down-to-earth guy. I like when you can just kind of just have that it just feels like you're talking to an old friend in an interview. Those are like my favorite kinds. So
yeah, when I did my BlockNet review, like way back in the day when I first started the channel, after that we basically just kind of always kept in contact, and he's been super helpful and always like giving me ideas or like feedback about what I should be doing. But that's one thing I noticed too. Like a lot of their team is like that. When I interviewed Arlen, which is like the founder, he's the same way, just very low key. Very project driven. So it was pretty cool to be able to, it's a little bit of a comparison compared to like some people who are all moon boys, one moon, Lambo, all that stuff. It's nice to have not that all the time.
Absolutely. Is Elio having a little bit of sound issues, buddy?
Yeah, I think he is having some issues. He's got to unmute his mic.
Does he need to like rejoin? Because that's what you did.
1 second.
Okay.
Right.
Well, we'll just keep talking.
We'll keep going on. Let's see. Oh, Hanny's in my chat. He just said yay for BlockNet in all caps.
Oh, nice. Yeah, no, congratulations, man. That's a really awesome breakthrough. I think a lot of people don't really understand how awesome what the X router really does because
people don't know.
I know a lot of yo. Do you guys see him frozen in the? All right, so I know a lot of people out there, when they downloaded the A-Chain wallet, there was so much complaints about it originally, about how long it took to download it because you had to download the entire blockchain, and people would slow. I can't take this seriously right now. People with slow connections.
He looks like a model though, because it's like very shot.
It's blue steel.
Yeah, blue steel. That's what I'm thinking of.
Did you guys see somebody on Twitter? They were like, "Oh, great! Like 4 of my favorite YouTubers," and they were like, we got like I forget what they said. They were like, "We got the girl, we got the model, we got the voice," and then they were like, "We got Rudy," and I was like, "Wait, so I'm like Rudy from that movie?" I was like, "I appreciate the compliment. It was a good movie, but
what movie?"
Rudy, he wants to like play football, but like he doesn't exactly have what it takes, and he kind of
literally I do not get the reference at all.
Samwise Gamgee trying to play football. Yeah.
Just watch the movie.
I'll have to watch it.
Elio, just okay. So there's in your thing. There should be in the center at the bottom. It says mic. There, just tap that, and then the mic will be on.
I don't know what is going on.
Is this like an elaborate prank? Is this some kind of a PR stunt that I'm not aware of?
Probably. It's very possible.
All right, we're gonna talk about cryptos then. What's going on in the chat, guys? Let's talk about some cryptos.
You have to unmute yourself, right, Elliot?
U Network, absolutely. Competitor to Steam it. I'm just waiting to see what they come out with.
Oh, I've heard about them. I'm like obsessed with social platforms as far as project, and I'm just waiting for the moment that one of them hits it big, because I like Steam. I like the concept. I like that they have DLive. I like that they have DTube, that they're doing all that stuff. I think it's awesome, which is why I'm streaming on DLive right now, because I'm all about these decentralized platforms. But I just don't think any of them have really hit it on the head yet. There's like Flixio, which is coming out. I also use Library, which is another one. But I really want to see something, really be a YouTube replacement. I'm dying for something like that to come out.
Yeah, it's tough because even on DTube, it isn't like the highest quality. You could do like 480p or something like that. And
I don't know, actually. All of my videos on DTube look quite nice, and my live streams look great when I do it on DLive, so I don't know. What I like is that everything, like if I post on DLive or DTube, it all ends up posting on Steemit anyways, so I have those separate accounts, but like Steemit has everything, which is nice.
I still think it's a little bit tough to nail that model, especially if people are getting compensated for their content. It sort of promotes this sort of like, well, I've got to make the most clickbaity, clickable type content. And it's still in its infancy, but I think it's the right direction, especially because like, even like I like to make fun of Tron sometimes, but like the way that they're pushing their platform is that, content creators can own their content definitively.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of other platforms just like that. And yeah, I think that is sort of the future. We'll see content creators own their content, data holders own their data. It's definitely the decentralized future, but it's so not there yet.
Yeah, I'm excited for that because I think there's a lot of concepts in crypto that obviously, because I don't have a tech background, sometimes I have a hard time looking at a project and saying, okay, there's a need for this. Because if I don't necessarily have experience in that niche, I don't really always see a need. But for me, because I do the social media stuff and because obviously we're all content creators, when I see a platform, I'm just like itching for it to be successful. Obviously for selfish reasons, but also because YouTube, let's be honest, YouTube sucks. Like as far as reimbursement and doing anything to help anybody outside of themselves, they're really not that great. So
yeah, happy Google no more crypto ads day, everyone. that started today.
I'm back, by the way.
What happened?
So on my stream, it was only catching my microphone, even though I had muted myself here. They were like, no, we can only hear you. We can't hear them. So it was like, I'll figure it out for the next stream. I promise.
Oh,
but right now,
that's what I told you we had to do. We had to download that plugin. Remember I was telling you?
Yeah, so I have a sound rerouter, but it was being funny. So I will work it out, the kinks, but I redirected my folks to your channel.
No, bitch, whatever.
Come over, channels, guys.
Come hang out with us.
Come over.
We do this every Friday, sometimes Thursdays.
Subscribe over there. They're funnier than me.
Yeah, absolutely, man. So Mav, I just wanted to also just say congratulations, actually to both you and Candor as well for your awards that you guys won at the CIA, the CI Awards. So yeah, man, congratulations, best
Thanks.
video production and fastest growing channel. You guys, come on, man, you earned it, So
yeah, I mean, it's definitely not. I mean, we know the event was a little crazy, not necessarily what we were expecting, but it was cool. I'm grateful that everybody got down there. We all met each other because it definitely made for good networking, if nothing else. And I do think that next year that they're going to be better. I'm excited to see what they do next year because they had a lot of hurdles. They sent out an email afterwards explaining all the stuff that they had to deal with. And I'm surprised, to be honest with you, I'm surprised the event even went on. They got moved, they got yelled at by the police, they got all kinds of stuff. So
they were afraid it was going to turn into a rap concert.
yeah, pretty much.
I mean, unfortunately, I couldn't stay. I was I had some istions back at home. A tornado had come through and completely destroyed my neighborhood. So I had to go. I couldn't go home. I had to leave
because I had no electricity. So I was like, I may as well just stay in the city.
Yep, absolutely, guys.
So Abram Cookson, who I believe is one of the founders of Substratum, because I obviously worked on their project, would like me to ask Mav about Sub.
Well, I actually used to work with Abram on a little startup we were part of a couple of years ago. So Abram is an awesome guy, and for that reason, I know that Substratum is the real deal. And I even went to their holiday party back in December. That's where I met Data Dash in person. So that was fun. They are. I'm really glad that Silicon Valley. I don't know if you guys watched HBO Silicon Valley.
Oh, yeah.
But they towards the end of that season, not to spoil it for anyone, but they sort of pivoted to being an ICO, trying to decentralize the internet. And so that's sort of what Substratum is doing. And it's really cool to see that parallel between, art imitates life. So yeah, I think it's a really cool project.
I made that connection too, because when I was doing research, they were saying how they were originally thinking about coming up with their own compression algorithms, and they eventually decided not to do that. But the second I read that in my research, I was like, oh my God, it's the real life Pied Piper. But yeah, no, their team is really cool. The project's really interesting, and I like that they're not, which I find like recently in some of the projects I'm researching, is they're trying to do too much. Like I think they're just trying to pick out too many things to do. And I like that Sub is just like, we're going to do the internet, and that's what we're going to do, and we're going to stay focused on it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Just that little thing, the internet.
Just a little thing.
Yeah, I would actually get into arguments with people. Well, first of all, I'm also that person who just like, you know, the bowling ball meme where it's like bowling unwanted conversations about Bitcoin at everyone in the party. That's like me in a nutshell. And so I'm already like hypersensitive to over Bitcoining everyone. And I would get in arguments with people like, do you not realize that there's no way they can create this company that they're talking about without blockchain? Why aren't they calling it that? Why are they not calling it? I was like so frustrated that they wouldn't just say this is a cryptocurrency or a blockchain project. And of course they were building up to the ICO scene. And I get it. There was like a narrative device they were using, but the whole season, I was just getting into arguments about like, why won't they just say what this is, you know? And yeah, lo and behold, yeah, it's Substratum. Pied Piper is absolutely Substratum.
Yeah,
sure.
100%. Which is great because, I mean, I love the show to begin with, but now it's like, it's more realistic, I guess, for me. You know, it's more like tangible to understand like what they're working through. Plus, I mean, the show is friggin' hilarious, so that's besides the point.
Oh, so is crypto. Let's be honest.
Yes, this is true. This is true.
Yeah, it's so funny. It hurts sometimes.
Yeah, that it does.
I'm just waiting for some massive price movements so that everyone will get all excited again. Because I feel like even lately, just with like this, the viewer interaction, even on my channel, you know, I've seen like the views kind of go down. And at first I was like, wait, is this me? Like, am I not providing quality content? And then I start looking at all these other channels and I'm like, yeah, maybe it's like, you know, and even Mav was saying earlier, maybe it's just the summertime. People are kind of just, you know, and plus like, let's be real. The markets are really boring right now. But the one thing that I tell everybody on my channel especially is just, yeah, if you're in it for the long haul, this is a superb accumulation period. So, I mean, if there's projects out there that you've been looking to get into, you know, dollar cost average, whatever it is, there's some really good opportunities right now. I mean, so, you know.
I also think it's important that everybody, like, takes time to accumulate, but also, like, takes time to go see a movie, or, like, go out to dinner, or, like, see somebody that maybe they haven't spent time with. Like, when the market's slow like this and there's not a lot to do, and obviously we're not getting views, but, like, whatever. I think it's just sometimes we all have to, if the weather's nice, go outside for 5 minutes and take a breath of fresh air, you know? Sometimes getting away from the computer can be good, too.
No, yeah, absolutely. I agree.
I've heard of that for sure.
You've heard of that in books?
I read about that, yeah.
You've read about that somewhere?
So
no, it was online.
I don't know if you guys saw, but Data Dash called for Bitcoin to 50,000 by the end of the year. So do you think we're this is sort of like the calm before the storm, or do you think this is just gonna be par for the course the rest of the year? We're just gonna kind of 2018 is just gonna be the year that, you know, crypto just had to like settle down, and then 2019's the year of crypto. I don't know.
Did he say anything? Like to back that up, or did he just tweet 50K Bitcoin, LOL? There's several things that went into it. It was like Bitcoin ETF is coming, institutional money's coming. You know, there was
that Deutsche whatever bank or whatever it's called.
Yeah, Deutsche Bank.
Deutsche Bank. There you go. Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know. I want to believe, but at the same time, it's tough because I think
my number's higher.
Oh yeah. Yeah, let's hear it.
No, I mean, I support what Data Dash said. I actually echoed it to much criticism, actually. But the reality is right now there are a lot of factors acting on the market, and really, I think what people sort of fail to understand is that after Thanksgiving, we got a new batch of investors, which in cryptocurrency might seem like it happens all the time, but that's not in reality what you're seeing. You're seeing a lot of very pre-existing investors doing things that make them more money. you're not seeing a lot of new injections of capital. And that's where you see a huge discrepancy in the behavior that was exhibited in November, December versus what you're seeing now, which is no new people. And so I think like there's a variety of factors that are acting upon it, but I don't think 2018 can even possibly go the way of 2014 rather, because of the amount of capital already in the industry. Like while those coins might have come down off their highs, a lot of those internal traders and market makers have taken incredible amounts of profit, and they are sitting so flush with cash that you have essentially empires here that are so liquid. And I think that we're just in a very unique time, and I'm extremely bullish. So what I'm seeing now is a lot of TA that people don't like to acknowledge being acted on the market by bots, because there's no new injections of capital to offset that TA to really break those patterns. And so you're seeing bots being bots going through, and if that's why the last 6 months look exactly like a wedge pattern, because it's just bots acting on basic TA, in my humble opinion.
I mean, that makes sense. Go ahead, Kyle.
No, I just wanted to interject and just kind of just point something out that a lot of people tend to just for some reason overlook. The market cap is an illusion. It doesn't really represent what's actually going on. Like, for example, if you have these over-the-counter trades where you're having massive amounts of like investor capital coming in and they're just buying it for a flat rate, that doesn't change the market. If you just come in and buy it for flat rate, how do you get market cap? You take what the last price is, the average of the last price, and you multiply it by the circulating supply, correct? Well, if you're buying it for a flat out average price for tons of dollars and there's no change in that price, the market cap doesn't move. But they're buying the Bitcoin, and people need to realize how these guys play the games on the sideline. So just because you go to CoinMarketCap and you're not seeing the price of Bitcoin go up, you're not seeing the market cap go up, they're buying. You just don't know. So just got to kind of throw that out there.
But doesn't too, I mean, you know, the trading on margins and things like that with Tether too, doesn't that affect inflate it in a way that's not actually true, because you're trading on something that, in theory, I mean, Tether doesn't really exist, at least in my theory.
So
Does
I think
anything really exist though?
Are we getting existential?
There is no spoon, but I do think that you know, when it comes to the margin trading, I do think that has an effect, and there's been the term BitMEX mafia, but in reality, there are people that are concerned with if you have 1 million or 100 Bitcoin, how do you make money today? You trade it, you leverage it on futures. That's what I think a lot of people do. And so if you're doing the math, you can actually leverage your stack way more the lower the price of the Bitcoin, depending on your fiat capital. So there's an argument that a lower price for Bitcoin actually benefits some of the biggest holders who are doing margin trading in the near term. While they want it to go up in the long term, they understand that by keeping the price a little bit low, it actually benefits their leveraging ability in the near term, as far as Bitcoin absolute value. So for that reason, I've actually heard some really interesting arguments, and I do believe that there is a case for some price suppression coming from within the Bitcoin community, waiting for the next bull run, waiting for the next injection of new investors. And part of that comes from the fact that these futures tradings do allow for you to make incredible amounts of money, especially if you know how to push the price in one way or the other, and they certainly do. So it's to me is I saw a really interesting chart. You know, every reversal has happened on the 6th. And it's an interesting chart because how could that possibly happen? Then on February 6th, we hit our low. And then on March 6th, we hit our high. And then on April 6th, we hit our low. And then we reverse. It's like, why is this monthly cycle occurring? What happens in monthly cycles? So, you know, I'm a believer that we don't have that many new investors as we'd like to believe. And that as those start to trickle in through cultural events, through product adoption, through new apps, you know, what's the Uber, what's the Instagram of blockchain that's going to actually bring people into this world. And that's what's going to cause the price to hit those seams where those sort of cartels, if you will, are no longer going to see the need to suppress, and they'll let it go to the next levels.
I do agree with you, though. I do think that obviously what we're seeing now is existing money that's in the market that's trading. I think if we were seeing a serious influx of new fiat in the market, we would see it in price. It's not going to dribs and drabs in. We're going to have, you know, a serious increase, I think, mostly all at once, and then maybe something will level out. But for the time being, we haven't really seen any since like that last high over the, what was it, like last summer or fall? I don't even know when it was that the market was like an asininely high. We really have just been bouncing back and forth on like minor highs, lows, and that's pretty much it. We haven't done anything interesting.
January 6th
People
January.
actually have to start using the cryptos too. That's the thing. I mean, if you really want to if you really want to see movement in the markets, you have to use the damn things. Unfortunately, it's become a bit of a hodl game or a flip game, and we don't actually use cryptocurrencies for anything other than speculative investments and trying to 10x. And because of that, then people get scared to put money in. But the truth is if you don't have new money coming in, or you don't have people actually utilizing it, spending it, and then replenishing the wallets with it, it's not. What do you expect? What do you expect it to do? You know. And unfortunately, a lot of people that I've spoken to, they're afraid to keep investing. I speak about dollar cost averaging, but they're like, I don't know. I've lost so much. I don't want to put any more in. And that sentiment, it spreads like a virus. And everybody kind of gets this overall feeling about it, and then this kind of is what happens. But personally, I mean, I've been for like months. I've been saying June. I think like mid-June. You could quote me on it. I could be wrong. But for me, I think mid-June is kind of when we're going to see it, because I was looking at some of the previous charts, and that's it. I don't know what it is about that time period. I don't know. Maybe there's something you guys know that I don't. But there's so many charts that just show, right, like kind of mid-June, July, that tends to be when the market takes off. So, we're hitting that triple bottom right now. And like Elio said, if we are dealing with bots, fine, it's bots. But if we're going to follow the pattern that the bots are doing right now, then yes, we're going to have, if you're just going to be, we're just going to do the exact same thing. We're going to have one more pullback. We might go down to like 65, 64. And then I think we're going to the moon. That's just my opinion. So do what you guys want with that. You can hodl. You can try to trade on your way down. Me, I'm just accumulating. I'm just accumulating and accumulating,
Yeah, and
that's what I do.
That's, you have to think long-term, like you said. We all think day-to-day, what we're seeing on our prices changing our portfolio and stuff. We have to think in a couple years that these day-to-day prices are going to be laughable. Like, it's not even going to be something that's worth even talking about anymore. So if you're really pro crypto and you really think that it's going to last, accumulate what you want, projects you believe in, hang on to them, and focus on doing research and educating yourself on other stuff, because when it takes off, it takes off. But obviously right now we're kind of in that not so much taking off moment.
Yeah, Warren Buffett actually said he ends one of his most anti-crypto rants with, if you love something, who cares, and you believe in it long term, who cares what somebody says about it? And if you're a true believer in the investment. And so I'm actually going to make a video about, do what Warren Buffett says, and invest in what you believe in, regardless of the FUDs that are kicked out about it. And, obviously, I will say, if we don't hit a 12K Bitcoin by the end of July, I would say that I would have to reclassify some of my predictions for this year. I do believe we'll hit that by the end of July. I certainly hope so. But if we don't eclipse a 12K Bitcoin, specifically the 11.8 to 12K resistance, I think that it could be a much quieter year than I thought. But again, that could be changed by any product that comes out and catches, consumer
absolutely.
interest.
I'm sorry, guys, but Warren Buffett's actually in my chat right now. So, yeah, I don't know who this user is, but this is Warren Buffett, and they're letting us know that.
Do they concur?
Yeah, no, but it's funny because a lot of times what I find with this stuff is I tend to just do the complete opposite of what people say. Like when people say buy, I sell. When they say don't buy it, I buy. Like honestly, like I just do whatever the heck I want, and so far it works out. Like listen, this is what I say. If 98% of all of these projects are going to fail anyway, why not invest in the ones that you see real use cases in? I mean, look at the ones that have supply chains, right? You have Origin Trail, you have Walton Chain. Okay, these are real. Like, even if for some reason crypto completely just goes to the wayside, I mean, it's not like they're going to stop producing the RFID chips. It's not like they're going to, stop their grand vision towards, manless.
Or supply chains are going to go away.
Yeah, they've been around for centuries. It's not like, so I like to invest in those things. I mean, I'm a huge proponent of platforms and protocols as well. Personally, I think that they have a wide variety of use cases, things that are blockchain agnostic. You know what I'm saying? Projects like that, but a lot of the dApps, they're speculative. I mean, do you really need a token for that? I don't know. A lot of them, I do question it, so.
Yeah, I find that a lot of projects lately, I'm like, well, okay, so I see kind of a use for this project, but why does it need a token? Like, I feel as though there are good projects with good ideas and good concepts, but they don't necessarily need their own cryptocurrency.
And a lot of the, curated opinions that you see online, I find that there's so many people who love crypto, and I love when people love crypto. But there's also not necessarily that many people who have actually tried to roll out products and understand what that means and how that actually how that process takes place. And so, as someone who loves, and as you guys know, is working on many products, I I get very impassioned when I see products that have clear paths to roll out. And that's one of the things that's so beautiful about supply chain is that is a deal that's made between two executives in a boardroom, and it affects so much. And that's that you don't have to overcome all these boundaries of public opinion and these other things. So it's just understanding which sectors I think have an easier path and what is really an adoption that doesn't require a tipping point, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
Which projects are you guys particularly, and I'm not even going to use the term bullish, I mean, just which ones do you guys really see legitimately, being useful? The ones that we have right now, is there any ones that you guys are kind of, you really see, like in a couple of years, you could see them still being around, still producing,
I feel like that's such a
everybody goes silent. No one can.
Well, I mean, it's a hard thing to answer. If we're talking, I've had this discussion with you, and I've had this discussion with Hanny about how I feel about currency, coins like Bitcoin and things like that. Yes, there's a use case for it, but long term, I feel like a lot of the platforms and things like that are going to overshadow it because you can only do so many things with transactionary coins, right? So like Bitcoin has one purpose, but Ethereum has more than one purpose. Same thing with like Zencash. I love Zencash, has a privacy aspect, has a platform, is doing other things, but it's also a currency. So to me, like the whole blockchain or the project 2.0, 3.0 stuff is what's really going to take off, at least in my opinion. Obviously, these transaction coins aren't going anywhere, but price increase and longevity for making money or making back something on an investment, I think that other things that have more components and other than just being a currency are very important.
Yeah, and you have the ones right now that are like actually being used. Let's not forget. Some people in the chat, on my chat, are actually talking about. Let's see what's going on in my chat.
Daz says, Mav will say Walton.
Yeah. I mean, it's this supply chain stuff. Origin Trail, VeChain, they all are trying to do something different with supply chain. And like you said, it's one of the best use cases because it's not going to go anywhere. And it's a clear improvement over existing systems. And that's the complication with things like currency type coins, because to be a successful cryptocurrency, you need to be ubiquitous, but also effortless. You need to be able to integrate with current payment systems and point of sale systems in such a way that people almost don't realize that they're using crypto. So yeah, I don't know. I don't see how that's going to be changing anytime very soon. Whereas, what you're saying with platforms do represent, definitely the next step. That said, it is we're still not quite there, especially with the scalability aspect. I mean, Ethereum just had its 1,000th dApp release this week, and yet there's only 2 dApps on the Ethereum network that have over 1,000 daily active users. CryptoKitties is not one of them. So it's I still don't think we're quite there with the platforms. I don't think they have the transactions per second necessary to scale. And yeah, we're almost there, but it's interesting to think about. Yeah.
I've heard some interesting, not to return to our coinspiracy theories here, but I've heard some interesting theories about how essentially, because in reality, Bitcoin isn't ready for the world to use it right now. That the real Bitcoin whales, the real sort of internal Bitcoin cartel has intentionally taken the sizzle off of the price action because they don't want to introduce it too early. It's like, oh, oops, that kind of felt like it happened. Like we had a miscue earlier this year where the world was like, okay, let's all turn to this. And the technology simply couldn't hold up. Look at the fees that were being charged in January. No one can argue that that is a successful system. So I think as much as I love Bitcoin, I painfully have to agree that we're just simply not at a place for global adoption. And there is a sense that I have that there might be some powers that be that are, in a pejorative sort of parental way saying, you know what, as much as we all want to be at, stage 6, we're here, we're still in our pubescence here as an industry, and we need to embrace that scale, build the right infrastructure for the moment that we're all looking forward to. Now, returning to your question, which ones I'm bullish on, again, I go back to, I'm an old school investor in a sense of, I love great partnerships. I love pre-existing business models. I like to see revenue. When I see Icon partnering with Samsung and Line, it's like I see writing all over the wall. You know, it's like, I don't care what you say. Icon's going to be around for 30, 40 years, you know? And so, you know, you couldn't convince me otherwise. And I would say, you know, you see other projects forming incredible partnerships. Matrix AI Network, I love that project. And they have a prospective partnership with One Belt, One Road. But again, like that to me is so much less solid than when you look at the VeChain partnerships and you look at the Icon partnerships. And so, you know, I always go with fundamentals, even if the price doesn't reflect those fundamentals yet. By the way, $3 billion, $4 billion for VeChain at one point. It's like, what have they sold? What have they done yet? I love their tech. I love their partnerships, but does it reflect current value? Come on, that would be crazy for you to make that case that it reflects current value. You're reflecting future value.
I agree, bro. And honestly, it's funny because I actually have to take a step back on my channel because like I don't want to be a shiller and I don't want to only talk about the same project over and over and over again. But like, I just feel like I can't stress how amazing Icon is. Like, I cannot stress how good of a project this is. People just, they're impatient and they're like, well, they're not updating and they're not doing this. It's like, bro, they're already using it. Like, the loop has been around. There's multiple universities, institutions that have been using the loop way before Icon. Like, are you kidding me? Icon Foundation.
Every Samsung phone.
Exactly.
Every Samsung phone.
Naver, you have the Google of South Korea. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
Naver's actually Japanese.
Is it Japanese?
I heard you drop that once before. I want to make sure you get that one right in the future.
They don't use it in South Korea?
Oh, I'm sure it's used. I use Line, but
okay, all right. All right, my mistake, dude. Thanks for correcting me. I didn't know who made it, but I know that they use it. No, I agree. You know, never a day that you can't wake up and learn. You know, you learn from your mistakes and just get anyway.
All in stride, gentlemen.
They're actually forming partnerships outside Korea as well. So I think that actually spikes incredibly positively that it's not just Korean companies going with Icon as well.
Okay. I just got the smackdown on knowledge. But
I'm sorry. I didn't mean it like negatively. I wanted you to be right.
No, dude. Listen, man.
It's a good thing for Icon.
It is all about the knowledge in the community here, man. Listen, if you ever hear something, listen, I've said a couple things on the channel where I rushed into it. I read something a little too quick, or, you know, I didn't do enough of my research. And then the next day I'm getting backlash because they're like, what are you talking about?
I was getting backlash all day today for my video. I get backlash all the time. Please give me backlash. I'd rather be corrected than be flat out wrong and not know.
Yeah. But we can all agree Icon's awesome, right? Can we at least agree on that?
So yes, I can agree. I gotta ask Mav this question because there's somebody in my chat who must have added me like 6 or 7 times now trying to get me to ask him this question. Should I store my Icon on IconNext as an ERC20 Icon or swap to the mainnet Icon in IconNext? They would want to swap to mainnet, no?
Ooh, is that ready?
That's why I didn't think so. I know the wallet is, but I don't think the mainnet is.
No, the mainnet is ready, but the wallet swap they said they were going to give people up to 2 months to get stuff situated. It's not like the EOS where you got to like frantically scramble. They're being very lax about this. Okay. So, you know, Binance hasn't come out with an official statement just yet, but I'm just going to be real. They're most likely going to support it, even though I don't suggest leaving things on an exchange. But, you know, and obviously the wallet itself is going to support it, but it's just a matter of.
I just have all my stuff on a regular Ethereum address.
Yeah, I'm looking at the IconX wallet right now, and it says Binance, OKX, BitThumb, Upbit. They're all in preparation for the ICX coin, which is the non-ERC20 token. So it's just going to take some time. But it's a good question because you definitely need to be aware of that kind of stuff. For example, like, guys, if you didn't register your EOS tokens, it's too late. You screwed up. So at least I think so. I don't know if it's
just put it on Binance. Just put it on Binance. You'll be fine.
Yeah. Just sell it and then rebuy it. It's probably going to dump
take a risk for 1 day and leave it on the exchange for 1 day. You know, but a little safer, you know, it's fine. So,
so for clarification, they're saying that they should just store it as an ERC20 on the wallet for the time being, right?
Yes. Yeah. Okay. You can't even swap it right now.
Okay.
Even if it's on the wallet, but putting it on a wallet is much safer than an exchange.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree.
Good job.
Somebody asked me about Switcheo, and do you have any thoughts?
Yeah, it just got added to the ledger.
I know. Yeah. Awesome. Thank God. Now I can finally use the damn thing. I didn't like the way it was before. because I have some stuff I'd like to trade. I'm like huge Neo guys. I've had all kinds of Neo projects. We have QLC Chain, Deep Brain, so many different projects. But I was really hesitant on using it because without the Ledger integration, it's just I don't use MetaMask for Ethereum. That's not me. I just like the plug and play thing. So yeah, I'm glad that they're doing that. So
I have it installed on my browser simply because it will screen for websites that are potentially phishing websites or anything like that. And it will tell you like, hey, don't go here. But yeah, other than that, I don't really use.
I didn't know it did that because I have it on my browser too, but I just never use it. I full disclosure, I may or may not have added it for CryptoKitties, but I never actually did anything with it.
Yeah, that's good. No, Neo, like the whole Neo ecosystem, I think is going to really blow up over the next year between Switcheo and Nex and what Q-Link and Ontology. Oh my gosh, Ontology is
You're speaking KDubb's language now.
But listen, I don't want to shill. But you guys know I love my Neo. All right, let's shill some Neo, guys. It's Neo shill time. No, But yeah, another aspect too that a lot of people don't consider. So we kind of looked at the Neo ecosystem, and you do have to realize the players involved and who's involved in on-chain. Now, what is the new player that we have to the market that no one's really talking about? Now, this is like the sleeper, right? NKN, right? So we have the new network, dude. This thing is crazy. So you have these other projects doing computational power like Sonam, Golem, even whatever. So now you have a new kind of network where you're actually like sharing the network, not the computational power. But look at the people involved in it. Just go have a look at the team. That's the really intriguing part. And so the way that I see it is I've always kind of seen Neo at the center of the ecosystem. I see Ontology kind of as like the ring around the outside, bringing people in, right? You have NKN connecting everything. And here's the real kicker. You have Elastos, the operating system of the entire. Bro, I'm telling you, I see this in my dreams, man.
You need to draw this out. You need to.
I do. I need a diagram.
That's like the one wallet to rule them all. Is you got the Neo, Elastos, Ontology, Neo.
Right.
It's perfect. It's perfect.
That's what I'm saying. And they're all friends with each other too. Like they're all like having dinner and going out to brunch. like
going out to brunch.
They are. Like these guys are all friends. So like if you don't think that like their interests are aligned, you need to be realistic about yourself.
As I understand, Rongchen, Jihan, and Da Hongfei are super close, and they're like kind of three amigos vibes. So I wouldn't be surprised if they have extremely aligned interests as far as what you're saying.
Yeah.
I used to not like Jihan in the beginning. I used to kind of like think he was a whatever, but then I realized he's just a businessman. You can't hate the guy. He's just a businessman. He's just doing what anyone else would do. You're gonna hate on him just because he did better than you did. It's like we all had.
Yeah, most people probably would.
Well, then they're not being a very fair sport about it.
No, I'm in agreement with you. But that's such a that's just a question to ask in this space. It's like somebody else is successful. Why do you dislike them? Well, probably because they were more successful.
I think
you die a hero, you live long enough to become a villain.
Yeah, there
I
you
think
go.
Jihan Wu is actually on one of John McAfee's crypto fiat dollars.
They're BFF.
that you can redeem for FaceTime.
I love cryptos in my chat right now.
Oh, hey, what's up, man?
It's like Roger Ver was Bitcoin Jesus, and now he's Bitcoin Judas, and so it's all of it, and
the progression.
The progression, and it's like he spent all his initial years promoting Bitcoin and to the benefit of the whole community, and then he and Jahan, who had essentially been such drivers of the growth of the industry and the community, ended up creating, thinking they had a new direction that everyone would love. What didn't go quite as they planned, and then they turned into villains. And you could argue both ways on it. I try to not step in the mud on the Bitcoin versus Bitcoin Cash debate too much because I genuinely do think,
except for the video that you put out today. But aside from that, you did.
But I tried to be balanced. I might have failed. I fail at at things, and I'm accepting of that. So I did try to be as even-handed as I could. And
I also feel like it's a topic that like really is beating a dead horse. Like you're usually on one side or the other. Everybody's got an opinion. Nobody's right or wrong. Like I don't know. And it's such a heated thing to talk about. It's like, why bother? Why bother when everybody knows what the same arguments get brought up, the same facts get brought up. It's just very redundant to consistently talk about it. At least, that's the way I think of it.
Yeah, I think it's the network effect in the end. I think in the end, we're just going to go like with whatever's the most like people don't, we're not complicated creatures. Like, is it faster? Is it cheaper? Is it safer?
easier?
Cool.
Yeah.
I'll use that. That's really what it's going to come down to in the end. So
yeah, 100%.
It's going to sort itself out. You know, if Bitcoincash is the real Bitcoin, sure, fine. Let's stop arguing and let's just fast forward 2 years and see which one we're using. It's that simple.
Goes back to adoption, exactly what you're saying.
Yeah, whatever's seamless and like, you know, Mav said, whatever is being used without even people realizing they're using it, that's when we've won.
Yeah.
True.
Actually, what's crazy too is if you really look at it, they recently just showed that the active Ethereum wallets are actually higher than the active Bitcoin wallets as of today, which means that more people are actually using Ethereum for transactional purposes over Bitcoin. So, you know, there you go. That's just kind of like the crowd just deciding, you know, we're just deciding it's better.
It's a bit tough though, right? Because how many of those transactions are EOS transactions? How many are Tron transactions? How many are, you know, how many are Icon, ICX transactions? So it's, I think that as those platforms separate, it'll be a little bit more clear what Ethereum's transactions are.
Yes, I think that's important too.
Wow, that's actually a really good point, bro. That's a great point. Yeah.
You know, and it's something that we talk about internally. You guys that haven't met, you know, one of my co-collaborators, but you will soon. I'm going to get him to do some content soon. He's a very brilliant individual. And we talk extensively about how Ethereum's transactions will drop significantly with these new main nets. And it will be a little bit more of an accurate reflection as there's more crowdfunding platforms.
Well, people know. Oh, God.
No. I was just going to make a stupid comment. You go ahead.
I like stupid comments.
Well, Hanny was in my chat before saying it's the year of the main net, which is the truth. I mean, that's what 2018 is going to be. It's going to be a year of projects coming to fruition, everybody getting on their own blockchain, and it's going to be very interesting for Ethereum to see what, like you said, what transactions are true and what are side effects of everybody running on that network.
Do you guys think that anything is truly an Ethereum killer? Like I see VeChain constantly shilled as that. I see EOS constantly shilled as that. I've seen Neo compared to that. I'm not buying it, but I'd love to hear some opinions on that.
Yes.
Really? Oh, really? Okay.
I just want to be super controversial.
I mean, I love Ethereum. Everybody knows that was like my first. That was like my first coin that I really got into. But just because it's the first doesn't mean it's the best. And I do think that obviously we still have, like you said, there's scalability issues. There's all of these projects that are on there right now, so we don't even really know how much traffic is being utilized on the network, how popular it truly is, and whatnot. I don't know enough about the other platforms and what they're doing and planning to do in the future to necessarily speak to all of them off the top of my head. I would say that Neo to me would be maybe in a year or so like the next biggest contender. I think only because of the fact that it has its Net 5 tokens. It's got people know about it. It's out there. They have a reputable team. They have partnerships. They're doing a lot of stuff. There's a lot of buzz about it. And I think what you need in a lot of this in this space is buzz, and people constantly bring it up and constantly talking about it. So it's in the front of your mind's eye all the time. So yeah, I would have to say if there's going to be one in the next year or two, maybe Neo, I think is definitely a good contender.
Yeah.
Yeah, but define what aspect of Ethereum are we killing? You know what I'm saying? Because like in reality,
I think that's right.
Yeah, like in reality, BlockNet could be the Ethereum killer because of its interoperability. You know what I'm saying? Like, what are we really using Ethereum for currently right now? In my opinion, investing in ICOs and getting money from exchanges to wallets quicker.
Crowdfunding.
Yeah, that's what it became. You know, the whole thing about Ethereum, what really like drew people to it was the fact that they introduced the whole smart contract. It was blockchain 2.0. That's really, really what it was. And, it did what it did. And essentially now it's really just an investment vehicle for ICOs. You know what I'm saying? So as far as being an Ethereum killer, I don't really think anything's going to ever kill Ethereum for what it does. I think that Ethereum is still going to be an amazing placeholder, ERC20 tokens. And, let's not forget, they've also innovated in other ways as well. They're not just ERC20s. You have ERC721s, non-fungible assets. That's a really awesome concept, single assets that you can trade. Like, for example, in video games, I send you a sword or something, and there's only one of these in the whole world that exists, So it has introduced so many things. So when you say Ethereum killer, I don't know, but maybe as we move forward, it's like saying, back in the day, we had a rotary phone. Is there going to be a rotary phone killer? I mean, yeah, it was called the wireless phone, right? But then now we have smartphones. So did the smartphone kill the rotary phone? I mean, technically they still work as phones, but they have different functions. They have different purposes. So I
love all of your correlations.
I know his rants are the best.
I can't get my, you know what my problem is? I can't get my thoughts out
You
fast
don't
enough.
slow
so I just
down
end up just
ever. It's
saying everything.
fantastic.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Well, I don't know. How does everybody
Really
feel?
funny.
I mean, Ethereum killer. I mean, why can't?
No,
Why
you
can't?
make a great point.
Why
There's a
can't
lot of
platforms just be-
facets. There's a lot of facets.
What you highlight, I think, is the critical aspect, which is the crowdfunding aspect is what made Ethereum what it is. And right now that you ask yourself, oh, if I was going to crowdfund, would I go to Ethereum? And the question is most likely, right? Because you the ERC20 wallet and, compatibility, all the decentralized exchanges, you can get essentially your coin in circulation and trading so much with less friction. But who else solved that problem? Icon Nest, and now you're seeing Neo coming with all its solutions. And I think you just have to ask what from an adoption standpoint, what caused adoption at one point, what's causing adoption at this point, and what's going to cause the future adoption. And the question is, does anybody who's going to be new to crypto in July, the new crypto investor, do they care about what Ethereum did in the past, and does that affect in any way their future investment ideas? And I think I'd have to say that there's not enough respect for history in any in our modern age, and I don't think that. While I think Ethereum killer is a dramatic term, I think that someone could supplant Ethereum as a crowdfunding platform, and certainly as a smart contracts or DApp platform, absolutely, because of the scalability. I mean, without a doubt, we need better. So.
Yeah, I'm very much in agreement. It was well done, everyone. It's sort of the same way that like Bitcoin and its purpose has evolved over the years.
Mm-hmm.
Now it's sort of the reserve currency, digital gold aspect that it's not really much of the digital cash as it used to be, but over time it became something new. And so it's also sort of the network effect. Once something achieves a 90% usability rate of between everything out there, it's not going to go away anytime soon. That's why I'm hesitant to invest in any platform that's outside of the top 50. It's like, when it comes down to it, it's all about usability. It doesn't really matter how fast it is. It doesn't matter, what it's bringing to the table. It's all about that critical mass of users. And so even if something came out and it was way better than Ethereum, it had more transactions per second than Visa or something like that, if it's not getting used, then it doesn't matter. It's just going to be a zombie platform, and nothing is going to get launched on it or developed on it. So yeah, I think Ethereum is going to be around for a long time, and it's definitely, its purpose will change over the years. But I think it's so important as that sort of cornerstone of the second generation blockchain that like you said, it's a history lesson, but it's got purpose to come as well. So yeah, it'll be interesting.
And I
sure.
think it has to change, though. I think if it doesn't change and it doesn't evolve and it doesn't continue to find continual new purpose, it's going to be a zombie platform, right? So, and it's done that. It's evolved because we've made it evolve. We've started using it for what we need it for. And that's the good thing about Ethereum, is that because it, like you said, Kyle, it's got all these facets. And because of that, it can continue to morph into what we need it to be for that time. So I think that's pretty interesting, which makes it a little bit different, obviously, than Bitcoin, because it's got more components to it. True.
Very true.
The only zombie platform that's going to the moon is my channel, all right? Let's just get the record straight right now. This zombie platform's not going anywhere. No, I just had to break it up, make it fun a little bit, guys. Yeah, no, it's cool.
Take a second to mourn Ethereum right now. A moment of silence for Ethereum. No, I'm just kidding.
No. I think they all have their own use cases. I mean, even when it comes to Neo, when I first got into Neo, my perception of it was a little fanboy. I didn't really look into it. As I begin to look a little more into it, I do realize that really when you compare, for example, something like A-Chain and Neo side by side, they're really not that different, okay? What I see, this is how I see it in the future. I envision Neo being more of an incubator. I see it as a place to allow these projects to kind of grow, maybe work out the bugs. Eric Zhang can come in with Red for Sec and, do a little bit of operation on it, whatever. And then I think that they will eventually move on to their own chains, the way that Deep Brain Chain is making their own chain. You have QLC Chain making their own chain. But I think that Neo itself is still a good place to keep the digital assets. You know what I'm saying? Like you could still have a smart economy. You could still have digitalized assets on Neo, but you could have it sort of connected to the other chains as well, and a lot of people diss on side chains. They say, oh, it's a fad. I don't think it's a fad at all. I think it's a very realistic business model completely. If you have a business, whatever it is, you need a blockchain. Here, well, you can't fork Neo, but I'm saying, you know, for example, take a different blockchain. Okay, here, take my blockchain, utilize it. It's already interoperable. You know, we have the same consensus mechanisms. Everything, yeah. Well, I didn't want to say Elastos, but yeah, and you know, we can communicate with each other, and these are all viable solutions as well. You know, you have Zilliqa, they're doing sharding and multi-signing. That's their whole thing. That's how they're trying to get it. You know, so they're like, we're going to take the nodes. We're not going to put so much stress on the network. You have your job. You have your job. You have your job. There are so many different ways. It's so early that, like, okay, when I first made my video on high performance blockchain, I literally called it the EOS killer. How ignorant of a term is that? You know what I'm saying? But like in my mind, it made sense. But then when you realize it, it's like, no, they're doing their own thing. They have the hardware accelerator chip. So how do you know? You know, maybe we're going to hit a wall. Maybe at some point we're not going to be able to scale anymore, and we're going to have to increase the hardware. All possible solutions. And I'm tired of hearing people say, like, this is the end all be all. This is how you scale. This is how you do it. No. And that's not how society progresses.
Why can't you shard and use hardware accelerators? There's no reason why these two are not compatible. And so
yeah,
I think of all the acceleration and sort of scaling mechanisms, I really like high performance blockchain and what they're doing. And I think that it's compatible and totally synergistic with other scaling solutions. I also know that hasn't Zilliqa had quite a bit of trouble with their sharding. I don't think sharding has quite been worked out yet. So I think it's
I haven't been following it. Did I miss something?
I think it's just because the sharding is just never going to.
I'm not allowed to talk about anything that I don't have written actual documentation. So I cannot comment on that.
Oh, you're doing a no rumors thing. No, but I mean, obviously sharding's not in effect in any platform yet.
But also their sharding is different than what Ethereum wants to do anyways, right?
With Plasma?
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, different. But I mean, obviously sharding has been presented as, oh, we'll just shard it all. It's going to be amazing. And you know, we've all been promised scaling solutions that are going to be beautiful and amazing and work perfectly. And I would argue that we're still not in a scalable future. So.
And then he's like, that's none of my business, basically. You know what?
No, I mean, dude,
about?
The moment we can scale, it's good for everyone. I just don't think we're quite there. I would love it if I could say we're there yet. I mean, I just don't. We're here to speak the truth, right?
Yeah, no, absolutely. And it's good. You know, you bring a very good viewpoint, which is nice. It's different. But I mean, you make a good point.
Don't want to depress anyone out there. We're gonna scale eventually. It's just
everyone's gonna just leave. They're just gonna go watch TV and be like, "What the hell are these guys talking about?"
We thought we were going to the moon.
No, by the way, just to clarify, because I know there's gonna be this big thing. I was just kidding before, guys. I've actually been in contact with the Zilliqa team on the low because of the situation, and they're doing very well, and everything is on schedule, and they're doing fine. So I just want to say that out loud. So.
All right.
We will leave that.
That's awesome. Thank you for actually saying that.
We will leave that right there because there was a lot of FUD that kind of went on back in the day. And all kidding aside, it's not funny to say things about projects, especially things that people are invested in that you don't have full backing or proof of. So I learned my lesson. I'll say that much. Yeah. So getting off topic of that, let's see what the chat is talking about. Trump coin to the moon every time. I don't know every time I have a live stream, Trump coin's going to the moon. I always miss the pump. I always miss the pump.
There's everybody's. So apparently, I comment in my chat a little bit when you guys are talking, like there's downtime. I'll like respond to comments. And I guess like I'm just like really smooth about how I type because the whole conversation for like the last 5 minutes has been how nobody can tell that I'm typing and that I'm a ninja apparently.
Are you really typing right now?
Yeah, I've been typing in the chat the whole time.
I'm actually extremely impressed you were typing.
You have like one of those like silent pads that like.
I literally have it's an Apple keyboard.
Oh, okay. I'm on my laptop right now, and yes, I am in my kitchen. See, look what I could do.
I may or may not have ripped the space bar off my laptop earlier this week trying to clean underneath the key, but that's whatever. It's fine. I'll just bring it to Apple and have it fixed. Somebody's asking about this is like like the fourth time this person has asked. Silent Notary? I've never even heard of it.
I'm not sure what that means.
What's your opinion on Silent Notary? Okay, moving right along. My question,
I don't know what that is.
I don't know either. I just thought maybe I had missed something, so I was asking you guys. Have any of you heard of I think Bridge Protocol? I think it runs on Neo.
Yeah, they're like an ID. I actually have a video on Bridge Protocol.
Oh, do you? Because I got to do some research on it because they messaged me. They may want to do an interview. I just was intrigued because of the fact that it's on the Neo platform. So I'm like, oh, this probably ends up being a pretty good project. And you, sir, are obviously the Neo guy, so I figured I'd ask you.
Yeah, I mean, essentially, they're just what they were focusing on originally. I honestly, I haven't really looked at it recently, but when I had covered it, you know, so you have the key, right? Like the
Yeah.
key, all one word. So they're kind of doing somewhat of different things. Bridge Protocol was focusing more when I last looked at it on the KMC AML aspect of things. It might have changed since then, but yeah, I mean, it's not overly complicated. It's verification, you know. I mean,
Cool.
you could compare it to Civic, things of
Oh,
that
okay.
nature.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that makes sense. Very cool.
Yeah. Those are, you know, realistic things too. Identity on blockchains. Those are.
Oh, it's big in China though. Like that's where to do it for sure.
I'm extremely bullish on the key. I obviously I'm an ontology Kool-Aid drinker and provider. So you know.
Yeah, ontology is very interesting because I feel like for a while we were trying to find that next layer to what we really needed, and I think with the whole just blockchain, crypto space in general, I think trust was the next thing we were going to tackle, and I think ontology is really tackling that hardcore, and it's not competing with things like the key and bridge ID. They actually work together, which is what I think is awesome, because people always say, well, should I buy Ont? Should I buy the key? Should I buy ID? It's like, well, ontology is really not competing with any of these. You know what I'm saying? They're essentially, like, I look at them as like the bridge. They're the connector. That's all I see. You know, they're going to have their own ecosystem. They're going to have their own dApps as well. You know, and people tend to forget they are having their own mainnet. They're not a part of Neo. They're affiliated, but they're not Neo. So,
yeah, I mean, I think you know, especially because people forget in Web 1.0, 2.0, America really led the charge. We had this incredibly open development sort of environment, and we had, you know, the Googles, the Facebooks, the Amazons came from America, and we exported that technology around the world. If not for China's rather firewall where they put up and they kind of kept that tech out, they would be using Facebook over there now and Google over there now. Instead, they have their own competitors, but that was because of their sort of siloing of their economy from it. And I think we're in a new age, and I couldn't imagine America siloing, you know, American citizens or the West off from Chinese technology or Korean technology. And I think we might be in a sort of new paradigm where we might be importing that technology. And it wouldn't surprise me to see ontology being used on, you know, American dApps and you know, Western dApps, not really worrying about the fact that it was originally, you know, Eastern technology. I wouldn't be surprised to see ontology really be a solution that gets sort of implemented across the board. I think that what they're doing is incredible, and I wouldn't be surprised to see how far reaching, if it does become quite a global sort of implementation of this trust network. It wouldn't surprise me. I think that they're fairly unique in the market, and I know that they have their sights set on the West, USA and Israel and other regions. So I think that I see them as like the regulation layer. You know, they're like regulation being made possible in the blockchain. They are an ID or the bridge, but, you know, they're essentially the serious current, you know, pillars of our current society being able to be implemented sort of in the blockchain world. And I wouldn't be surprised if we don't really have a competitor for that.
well, you have to consider enterprise and its importance in this space in general. You know what I mean? They want to get involved, but like, you know, these businesses, they don't want everything. I mean, yeah, public ledgers are great, but they're not trying to put everything out for everybody to see. You know what I'm saying? So there has to be that sense of privacy to it. So that's that trust layer. So that's what I think is going to be one of the biggest advantages of ontology personally, is onboarding these enterprises that otherwise are kind of like, whoa, guys, I don't know about this, you know, but now when you add that layer of trust, I think it's going to be a lot better for the space all around. So many comments on my side, not to cut you guys off. I mean, people are talking about real world applications. So they're talking about PIVX. I mean, what do you guys think about?
I actually started looking into that because I wanted to do, I love doing these comparison videos because it really helped. The biggest thing when I got into the space was I didn't realize that there were so many projects trying to do the same thing. I was naive and I thought that everybody was like picking something different. I didn't realize there were so many competing things. So for me, doing the comparison videos like really hits home because I feel like it helps a lot of people. But PIVX and what's their other major competitor? I had it written down. I can't remember now. But I'm really, really interested in what they're doing because to me, that's the using crypto without necessarily knowing you're using crypto implementation.
How do you think about the fact, though, that like Verifone, you know, Verifone, the credit card machines, like they've also had that partnership with Graft, who's also looking to implement the same type of concept. So you start to wonder is like, are these decentralized guys going to be overtaken by the conglomerates? Like, oh, we're just going to do the same thing you're doing, but we have like more pull, more power and a better, you know, a bigger market. So I do worry about that. I mean, because you're kind of seeing that technology now. If Verifone gets a hold of it, where does that leave PundiX?
Yeah, and I mean, I think that's kind of the thing that we're going to run into and see is dependent on who they're working with, what their goal is, and the best way for them to implement it if it's still going to continue to remain a decentralized project. You know, it's hard.
You know what I thought was so funny is I heard another YouTuber who I'm not going to obviously name here, but they compared PundiX to Square. And I thought that was so funny. I was like, do you realize who runs Square and who owns Square? It's one of the biggest Bitcoin advocates in the history of Bitcoin advocates. Yeah. Do you not think that they're going to implement cryptocurrency? It's just, to me, it was just like, connect the dot. I think it's interesting, any sort of point of sale and sort of bridging the gap, making it easier to use cryptocurrency. But I think you can't ignore the payment systems that are currently in existence as those are the titans. And when they choose to pivot into this industry, they're not going to just evaporate because someone else has chosen to make it easy to take cryptocurrency. And so.
Yep. Exactly. Oh, Kong Hongify just clarified on my channel. He said he or she, I'm not sure. Silent Notary is a multi-platform decentralized service for confirmation of event existence. Silent Notary converts an event into legally significant evidence. Okay. Does that clarify?
What is it? Notarized smart contracts or something?
Multi-platform decentralized service for confirmation of event existence.
That's kind of cool.
Is that that sounds very unique? I can't think of something.
Sound very unique. Well, we're all like scratching our heads over it, so obviously it seems pretty unique.
I'm fascinated with the idea of, is a smart contract upholdable by law? And these questions of, can you have these agreements transcend into the real world of what we consider like, no, that was agreed upon. And so I think that this is approaching the same concept of how do we bring more authority and legitimacy to the things we agree upon within this blockchain world, and notarizing and doing things to make more official the agreements. I think it's part of the same equation. So
yeah, absolutely.
Marco, by the way, I just want to let you know, thank you so much for letting me know about that. By the way, yes, I do look into new projects. This is a personal comment on my channel. I've been looking into a lot. I've been looking into Seller, Zane, Thunder, CertiK, Arcana Wallet. Okay, Arweave. There's a lot of projects that I don't talk about on my channel, and the reason that I don't talk about them yet is because there's a lot of research to still be done, and I don't want to tell people to go buy something that I have not done my full research on myself. So I do appreciate the comment, Marco, but yes, I do a lot of research. It's just I don't talk about it because there's a lot of people that watch this channel, and I care about what they do with their money.
Yeah, well, that's why somebody just asked me on a chat, give us your top 5 coins so we know where to invest. No, that's not the question you asked me. If you want me to tell you what my top 5 coins are, that's like, why would I do that? Why? But there's no incentive except I'm going to get yelled at when the market dips. Somebody wants me to ask what our favorite platform is.
My favorite platform?
Yeah.
Like infrastructure, like builder.
They didn't
type
specify, but I'm guessing they're thinking in the more traditional sense. So like what you like Neo, Cardano, Ethereum, like that whole gambit of things.
Well, I'm going to leave Ethereum out because I think that's everyone's favorite platform, whether we want it to be or not, because it is, because we all use it. Yeah, probably platform would probably be Neo. But you guys know I do love Icon as well, and Icon has the same ability to host dApps as well. So yeah, probably Icon, but I don't know because there's so many great ones coming out. Like we don't even know yet. Like we haven't really seen what Zilliqa can do. We haven't really Quark Chain's not even out yet. What is Quark Chain going to be able to do? So there's so many to still compare to. You have Lisk. I mean, we really even haven't seen the full capacity of, so like,
I'm holding.
I don't know. There's so much. I couldn't pick one.
So go ahead. Sorry.
Yes. Anchor Crypto Jack. I agree. Definity, DX Chain, Chainspace. Wow. Crypto Jack. He's doing some research on my channel over here.
Jack is deep. Yeah. I agree with what you say. Like it's so hard because when you put out content, sometimes you'll see those comments and it's just, I bought this because you said it was good. And you're like, you try to present all the information and give a holistic opinion, but then some people just see that you reported on something and go buy it. And so there is a sense of you can't just report on everything, even if you're interested in it, because you might end up giving an opinion that maybe doesn't represent what you fully believe or leads people to act. And so there is a sense of responsibility. KDubb, I think that's very, very sage of you too.
I mean, listen, guys, I listen, for people that think that I don't put my money where my mouth is. I mean, I literally held Icon all the way up to what is it, 12 bucks, never sold like a freaking idiot. And now we're all the way back down to 250. I still have all my icon. And you know what I did? I actually accumulated more. That was my logic. my logic was like, oh, it's on. So yeah, I mean,
Well, you got it. You got it.
People come to my channel and it's just like, no, when if I talk about a project, and I push it out and I admit it, then I own it or I'm invested in it. But yeah, as far as YouTubers go and stuff like that, I mean, we all have some type of a social presence. Okay. Some people might say influence. I like to consider myself a content creator, but inevitably somebody somewhere is going to hear me talk about something and buy it. But guys, I talk about like 500 different coins a week. There's no way I own all these coins. There's not enough money to go around, so you always have to do your own research. And I get tired of saying it and people get tired of hearing it. But in the end, you can't blame anyone but yourself. If you're not happy with your decisions, then you need to just look into it. And you guys were talking about how we were talking about how crypto has been so boring lately. Fine, go out, whatever, play, go get some sun rays, go swim in a lake or something. Or
KDubb doesn't do that.
Or do some research. You know what I mean? Like dig into a white paper. I know it sounds boring, but you're so people are so quick to throw their life savings into crypto, but not read a white paper. It's like,
I know. Well, I was like that in the beginning too. I mean, I didn't throw my life savings in, but I was enthusiastic, and I got burned a couple times, and I realized like I'm not doing enough research, and because of that, that's why I started the channel, because I was like, I need to force myself to do research, to learn about this stuff, to really understand what's going on. And then it just kind of turned into this, which ended up panning out pretty well, obviously. But I agree with you. I was doing all my research for the supply chain videos, and Origin Trail had mentioned in a tweet that they were like, we're really grateful for you reading the white paper in depth and kind of understanding actually what is going on. And I'm like, well, if some white papers are over my head. Like I had told Mav, like Walton and VeChain were a little bit like reading another language. But if I understand the white paper and I can grasp it, I'm going to read from the source, right? That's where we should be getting our information from, ideally, is the projects themselves.
Yeah, I think the easiest thing you could do, I mean, you're not dealing with rock stars, essentially. These people have community outreach. You can go into Telegrams. You can talk to administrators. They have Ask Me Anythings if things are too complicated. And there's always someone out there that's willing to help you. There's plenty of resources. If there's things you don't understand, one of the things I try to do is to kind of, on my channel, I'll send people to a website where they go into terminology, simple definitions. Some people still don't understand basic consensus mechanisms. They don't understand what they're investing in. And these are basic fundamentals, proof of work, proof of stake. This is nothing crazy, and I just think that educating yourself is probably one of the best things you can do. Not to be corny, but if you're going to put your actual physical dollars into something, you might want to understand what it is that you're owning. That's just my take on it. So.
Yeah, it's tough, man, because it's so easy also to get swept away in the buzzwords, and it's so easy to get swept away in the marketing materials and the sleek websites. And anybody can make a sleek website. It doesn't mean you understand how to revolutionize the blockchain. And so I think that there is a gap even between people who mean well and who do a lot of research to actually understanding the real chances of success of the projects. So in the end, that whole do your own research thing can't be overstated, but also it's like, the herd mentality is easy when someone puts out some really tasty Kool-Aid. It's just so delicious to pass around, and it's easy to get lost in what it could be versus what it really is and where it is. And being brought down to earth sometimes is not fun, but in the end, you do want to make people feel good, but you don't want to just hype something that sounds good because it could cause a lot of people to rush into an investment. And so, there's so many projects that I see that I'm like, wow, that's really cool. I'd like to discuss that. But I put it on the back burner, like, okay, I'm going to watch this one for a few months and see how they develop, see with the team, see how many updates, see how really cognizant, or see how knowledgeable and how they know how to run a business, because in the end, building technology and then building a business, it's both. And it's not just I'm building a D app, it's I'm building a D app and I'm marketing it, and I'm rolling it out and I'm getting partners and I'm getting adoption. And so there's many aspects to the equation beyond just, wow, what a good idea. And so I think that's where, there's a disconnect between what you read and then what happens. And people are like, but I read this amazing thing. Why isn't the price going up? And it's just obviously there's a lot affecting the price, but that whole sandwich is a product of this game being a lot more complex than I think a lot of people would like to believe it is.
It's very emotional and very sentiment driven. And actually, I wanted to say, Mav, you actually came out with a video a little bit ago it was all about resources, and it was a really helpful video. And I've actually had some people even in the chat right now that they were actually wanted me to tell you thank you for that, because that video in particular really helped them to learn how to do some of their own research themselves. And I think that it's really key that we have fun, we joke around. It's all like shilling to the moon, 100x. But I think at the same time, like, it's really nice when we do educate. And I get it, maybe the educational videos don't get as many views. Maybe they're not as hyped or whatever, and they're not going to teach you how to 100x or whatever. But it's going to help you to understand the space. And I think that knowledge is really important when it comes to this. It's very complex. It's a steep learning curve. And like, dude, I just want to say thank you. Like, we do appreciate those types of all of you, everyone on this channel does very, very good job at informational videos. So yeah.
Well, I mean, and that's why I started doing like my Crypto 101 segment. So, I covered terminology, silly stuff that like most people don't think to make a video about, because when I started, I was Googling everything, talking about what the blockchain is, like what Ethereum is, why it's so popular, all these kinds of things. And like, I'm getting a bunch of hardware wallets, so I'm going to be doing reviews of that, explaining to people how to plug it into the computer, how to use it, through my Ethereum wallet or whatever else. Because when I first started, it was a guessing game and I was terrified. So it's really, really important. And like you said, it doesn't pull the most views, but that's not what I do it for. I've started this channel to make content for people like me when I started, and that's what I looked for, was educational, honest, just videos of people trying to help out. And that's what a lot of the space needs, at least to move on to other stuff and learn about the more in-depth processes of everything. We need to understand the basics.
Absolutely, guys. So I don't know everybody's time zone over here. It's pretty late. It's almost 11 o'clock by me. And
I have one more question, because somebody's aggravated that I haven't asked. Any opinions on AdBank?
I haven't looked into it enough. I'm sorry.
No,
I'm sorry.
Fine. That's fine. I just wanted to ask, so I can say that I asked.
So many cryptos, guys.
Yeah, no, I'm ready to go to sleep. So.
Yeah, no, definitely. I want to say thanks to everybody.
Mav,
yeah, it was really awesome.
Thanks for gracing us with your official first live stream presence.
Thank you so much for having me. It's been fun.
He doesn't speak, but when he does.
So
thank you guys kindly for having me as well. It's been awesome. Thank you so much.
Yeah, dude. Anytime you guys want to do this, we're always doing streams now. This is become like a weekly thing, it seems, which is pretty cool. So you're all welcome to come and hang out. And thank you all for viewing as well.
Absolutely, guys. It's a pleasure. It's an honor. I will do this till the death of me. I love it. And honestly, it's refreshing, because what else am I going to do? I'm either going to sit upstairs, rack my brains, refresh Blockfolio, and look at all these projects, or just have a good time and talk to some friends in the community, and it's not just us. It's not just the 4 people on camera right now. It's everyone watching, everyone that's going to be watching, and everyone that's really helping the space to grow and become what it is. Because without all of us, what the hell are we even here for? You know what I mean? So
I hear you.
I love you guys. I love you guys. I love you guys so much. You're awesome. All right. So that being said, guys, my name is KDubb. This is CryptoZombie. Until next time,
Toodles.
stay crypto.
See ya.